everyone, it is Opie and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be an art review of a product that actually I've been interested in for a while, and that is the Arctic's Gouache jelly paints, which I think is a really weird descriptor for any type of art product to call it jelly. I did make an art piece with these just to kind of see how they acted, and we're going to talk a little bit about these paints, how they acted, how I like them, and if I will use them again in the future. Before we get into this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also to follow me on my other socials, which will be down in the description box below. So, these gouache paints are interesting in that they are something that I've never actually used before. I've never really used gouache paints. I am very much so a watercolor person, and gouache paints are just kind of thicker watercolors. They act fundamentally the same, however they are just thicker and often more pigmented than any type of watercolors could be. So these paints obviously come in a very compact little box instead of in tubes, and the first thing that you see whenever you open up this package, I've already used these so don't be afraid of that, you see on this top, of course there's not going to be like colors everywhere because I've already used these, on this top, this thing right here comes up and you get an art palette, which I'm not going to take it off right now because I'm going to get paint all over my hands if I try to. However, it is there, and it's very nice. However, it is yellow, which I think is a little odd, just because I prefer to mix my paints on a white surface, just so I know the truth color that I'm getting and not a weirdly yellowy diluted one. In the palette itself, you have all of these beautiful little colors, which each of these are individual little pots of paint, which is very interesting, and each of them come with a little like plastic top on it at first that you have to take off. And yeah, they do come in this order. It is not color-coded, which is a little annoying to me, so I will be fixing these later to be like monochromatic. But this is the way that they come. I have not done anything with them besides painted. These paints have a very strong, like, tempera paint smell. Like, you know when you walk into, like, a kindergarten, like, art classroom, and you just get hit with that smell of paint? That is the smell that comes out of this box when you open it, I swear. It is a very strong smell. These paints act, honestly, a lot like acrylics, which is gouache are kind of a mix of acrylics and watercolor, so I'm not very surprised in that, but they are very thick, like thicker than I was expecting, and they're not hard to use, but they do have a little bit of a learning curve if you've never used them before. I will say that I do really enjoy these paints, however, but I don't know if these will be my go-to paints in the future, because again, I'm very much so a watercolor person. I love the way the watercolor looks, but if I had to choose between this and watercolor, I'd go with my watercolors. I do like these better than acrylics, though. They're much easier to blend. They are much easier to kind of work with, but they do have the same consistency as acrylics, so that is a plus if you are an acrylic painter. So I made a painting on my Fabriano, just kind of normal, low quality watercolor paper, just because I kind of wanted to see how it acted, and also because I don't value this paper a lot, so if I messed up, it was gonna be fine. This is the painting that I made with my gouache paints. It's not the prettiest, however, I used a bunch of different techniques just to kind of see like how these paints acted with each different one that I used. In the sun itself, I started on one side with kind of a lighter wash of paint and water, and then on the other I used mainly paint, so that is why there's kind of a difference in intensity of the red there. I also mixed this color using purple, red, and I think a little bit of like blue or something, but it looks very nice, and these paints blended beautifully. They were super easy to mix, they were super amazing to just kind of like blend together and make a new color, and I really enjoyed that. In the rays of the sun itself, I did a little bit of blending just to kind of see how these acted as watercolor paints, and they blend super nicely. Again, there is a little bit of a learning curve if you've never used gouache paints before like I have, but they do blend very, very nicely. Around the sun, these kind of like squiggly things that are going on are me messing around with fan brush. These little blue corners over here were me stippling and kind of dabbing on blue and white paint to kind of make almost clouds, and then using that same little fan brush and water technique to make these squiggles around the side to kind of blend it a little bit better. And granted, it's not the best painting I've ever made, however, it was a really good first try for these paints, and I really did enjoy how these paints kind of acted on this. They are very interesting paints, I will say. I guess the only real drawback with them is that A, they have a really strong learning curve if you've never used gouache paints before, and B, they have such a strong smell. Like, genuinely, they almost gave me a headache, that's how strong the smell was. I probably will use them again. I think overall they do definitely have a learning curve, and I'm definitely still getting used to them, but I really do enjoy them. So in conclusion, I think that these paints were pretty nice. I will definitely be using them again. Any other paintings that I make, I will be posting on my Instagram, which will be down in the description below, which you should totally go follow me on if you ever want to see more of my art. I hope you all had an amazing day, and I love you here, there, and in opposite dimensions. Signing off.